So after looking at these, we concluded that there is definitely something different, right? Let's work these. These are two different problems we're going to work. Let's work the first one. The salt, or the celery in jar A, we said that the celery has 1% salt in it. Okay, if I write it down, you might want to do this on your paper. You've got a place to do this. And I called the town of Herndon and asked them what the salt percentage in tap water was. Tap water is 1%. All right. What is the H2O amount outside of the cell? What's the H2O inside? What direction is the water moving? And what is it called? What do we call it? And what does the cell look like? Okay, there we go. So, how do we figure out what percentage of water is on the outside? Yeah, what's the percentage of water outside? Good. Excellent, Ryan. 99% outside. All right, Kevin, if Ryan knew that 99% of is outside, how much is inside the celery? What percentage of water? 99%. So, which direction, William? Where's the water going? Is it going in? Is it going out? Is it going in and out? In and out. Good. So we've got water flowing in, and we've got water flowing out. What do we call that? What's the... Oh, I'm so close. Huh? Isotonic. Excellent. Ryan, you got us there. We call it isotonic. Osmosis is the movement of water back and forth. Okay? But isotonic means the same amount going in and the same amount coming out. What does the cell look like? Victor, did the cell change with the same amount of water going in, the same amount coming out? So we can say it stayed the same, right? Stays the same. Okay, so that is isotonic. I stay the same. Isotonic. I stay the same. Okay. So, if we look at the other one, some things have changed. The celery didn't change. What was our percentage of salt in the celery? 1%? So let's write that down. We got 1% salt. And again, remember, it's all about the water. Now, we have a 25% salt outside. So let's see. Okay, water inside. So what's the amount of water inside? 99%. Ryan brought his A game. 99%. H2O outside. 75. 75%. Remember, and if I was getting this quiz today, the first thing I would write down, one of the first things is diffusion, osmosis, and facilitated diffusion require no energy, so they go from a high concentration to a low concentration. Just like rolling a boulder down the hill. It doesn't require any energy. Marlon, how much energy would it take if we rolled this big boulder back up the hill? A lot. Okay, so that's the way you can remember. Okay, so we're flowing from high to low. Where's the water going then? Where's our biggest number? On the inside or the outside? On the outside. I mean on the inside. Yes, thank you. On the inside, so the water is flowing out. So, what do we call that? What do we call that movement? Is it hypertonic, hypotonic, or isotonic? Hypertonic. Hypo, we get fat. Hyper, it's losing. So this is hypertonic. And what are these cells going to be doing? Getting bigger, staying the same, getting smaller. When we look at this celery on Friday, we should see that celery get almost like rubber. We ought to almost bend on it. Okay, we should almost bend it in half. All right? The other one in the freshwater is going to stay the same. But we have 3 more, so I'm going to give you the other one. No, get the notes out so you can get busy. That's you don't come in and sit. Here we go. All right. So we've got one more. We've taken water out. What's that called? We've taken water out of the cell. What's it called? Hypertonic. We had water go in, water go out. What's that called? Yeah, even amounts. Isotonic. We have one more. Hypotonic. Like a hippo, it's going to get bigger. So, we have another deal here. We have our celery. Okay, we want water to go in. If we use distilled water, it is 100% water. It has no salt. It has no potassium. It has nothing in it. It's pure water. You get that by boiling it, catching the evaporation. That steam up there is 100% pure water. All right. So we have 100%. How much salt do we have in our celery? 1%. All right. So let's figure this out. What do we have H2O outside? How much? 100%. Good. Somebody other than Ryan needs to get in this game. 100%. H2O inside. Which one is bigger? 100%. Which way is the water flowing? Inside. High to low. Boom. Now, if we're shoving air, if we're shoving water into something, is it getting smaller, bigger, or staying the same? Bigger, like a hippo. It's hypotonic. Okay? Those are the only 3 things that can happen. And it's all about the water. Okay, so don't let any of that, all you're going to do is figure out which one has the bigger number. That's the direction it's going to flow. All right? We good with this? All right. So plants care about oxygen, but do they care more about CO2, carbon dioxide? What do they breathe in? What do plants breathe in? Carbon dioxide. What do they give us? Oxygen. With that thought, where did the plants that originally come here get the carbon dioxide? We were here, as William, who is an expert on dinosaurs, will attest to, there were no dinosaurs here. Where did that CO2 come from? The volcanoes. When the Earth was first formed, there was a lot of volcanic activity, and this volcanic activity was spewing out carbon dioxide, methane, sulfur gas, icky stuff, okay? But it was the CO2 that allowed the plants to start building the first atmosphere for the planet. Now, we didn't have plants. We had algae in the ocean. And so the small one-cell algae in the ocean started doing photosynthesis to give us the oxygen we need, and now we return it to the plants. I guess it's kind of a payback for them. All right. So here's what we're going to talk about today. We've talked about photosynthesis. Sun goes down, hits the plants. Plants use H2O, CO2, and the sun. What do they give us? What do they give us? Marlon, what do they give us? What do plants give us? They give us oxygen. That's one. What's the other one? C6, H12, which is what? Sugar. Okay. If you take photosynthesis, which we've all drawn and studied, and you flip that formula around, you have what goes on in us. Do any of us get our energy, although it's fun and it's rejuvenating, standing out in the sun going, I'm a solar panel, feed me, feed me? Kevin, how do we get our food? How do we get our energy? How do we get our energy? What do? We eat. We must consume. We're heterotrophs. We're not autotrophs. We're not plants. The energy that we create, that's created in us, is called cellular respiration. And that's what we're going to talk about today and on Friday. So cellular respiration is what cells do to break up sugars. And remember, this sugar is C6H12O6 into a form that the cell can use as energy. This happens in all forms of life. Cellular respiration takes in food and uses it to create, this is the most important thing we're going to be studying, ATP. ATP is another word for energy. Energy. A chemical which the cell uses for energy. Regular cellular respiration is aerobic. This is a term you're going to have to know. We're going to talk about aerobic. But some simple organisms, bacteria, can only do anaerobic. Anaerobic means without oxygen. The simplified formula for aerobic cellular respiration is this. You are going to have to know this. C6H12O6 plus O2 gives us CO2, H2O, and energy. Where have you seen something like this? That was not a rhetorical question. That means you guys need to be giving me some help. Where have you seen some of this? I'll give you a hint. Do you need a hint? Give me a hint. Here's your hint. What's that equation? What's that formula for? Photosynthesis. Excellent or not? Photosynthesis. Look at this. You got this. It's over here now. You've got this. It's over here now. You've got this. It's over here now. You've got this. It's over here now. You have this. It's over here now. And now it's in the form of ATP. Okay? So we've gone through a solar form of energy into a chemical form of energy. And that's what we're going to study now. All right, here you go. Here's your notes. This is the first part. I accidentally did away from the boxes, so you'll have to figure out what's up there. It's not going to be. How do cells obtain energy? Well, it attains it in two ways. Photosynthesis, sun, respiration, ATP. All right? Photosynthesis process by which plants get light energy from the sun, and they store it in molecules of sugar. C6H12O6. Respiration, and we usually call this cellular respiration, because we have a respiration system. We breathe. Okay? But here we're talking about our cells doing this. Cells using the oxygen for energy. Process by which chemical energy, see the difference? Here we're talking about light energy with photosynthesis. We're talking about chemical energy and glucose is released. We're taking this sugar now that we eat and we're turning this into energy. Something we can use. All right? We good? And this is going to be on YouTube, so if you miss any of the notes, you're not quite fast enough, don't worry about it. We'll go back and let you fill in the parts you missed at the end, or you can watch it on the YouTube channel.
Wait,
Certainly, what did I just say? You can go back and do this, and I'll do it at the end. Okay, photosynthesis, we know is sunlight. Sunlight is energy. Plus CO2 plus H2O, give us C6H12O6O2. This is sugar. Okay, where's the O come from? Where's the oxygen come from? Where do you think oxygen came from over here? Where do you see an oxygen? Free oxygen. This is the only, it comes from the water. It comes from breaking this oxygen off of here. So the water, when the water is split apart, those bonds are broken, we get water out of it. We get oxygen out of this. Excuse me. Plant cells have a chloroplast, and they're right here. If you draw one, it kind of looks like this oblong thing, kind of like a mitochondria, but here's the way to know different. They have these little stacks in them that are called thaculoids. They look like stacked up solar batteries from a watch or something, as opposed to a mitochondria, which looks like that. Chloroplasts have chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green substance that makes plants green. And plants are green because that's the color of the wavelength it's reflecting, which we're not going to go into. But if you were to put plants under green light, they won't grow. They need yellow, reds, blues, they're not green. Okay? Questions so far? We good? You're rocking it? Okay. So, respiration. We've already said that this is taking sugar. So we eat. We breathe. And what do we breathe out? We don't breathe out oxygen, carbon dioxide. So this is us. This is us. This is going on in us, not in a plant. When we breathe out, we're breathing out CO2. We're breathing out or sweating H2O, and we are using the energy. Our cells are using the energy. Respiration is a process that releases the energy stored in glucose. The energy release is stored in a smaller molecule called ATP. You need to know that it's ATP. If you remember that it's adenosine triphosphate, that's cool. We're going to talk a little bit about the triphosphate. So that's where the energy comes. So, us, what we give back, what the plants are going to use, I'm going to do this in green, is this plus energy from the sun to do photosynthesis, which starts the whole cycle over again. They make the plants, the animals eat the plants, we get the sugars, boom. All right? Remember, autotrophs are plants, or what we call self-feeders. Self-feeders. And heterotrophs must eat. Okay? They must eat. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it, Wayne? Because we learned about photosynthesis, we got these sugars, then we need to do something with them. Well, this is the other half. We're going to eat those sugars. We're either going to get the animals who ate those sugars, or we can eat the sugars ourselves. We can eat a peach, take in that sugar, and we're doing the same thing. All right? Okay, what do these two things have in common? I'll go back. What do these two things have in common? What are these two things? What is this? That's a plane, but what do we call it? Can we just say plane if you're going to be formal? A what? It's an aeroplane. Where does an aeroplane fly? in the air. So this is an aeroplane, you could say. This is aerobic respiration. What do you think this kind of respiration is? With air. Excellent. So aerobic means with oxygen. Okay? So that's something you're going to have to know. Okay, so aerobic respiration is respiration that uses oxygen. It's the biggest energy bang for your buck. So aerobic respiration happens when there's anaerobic respiration happens when there's no oxygen. There is no oxygen. Means none. Okay? Means none. This happens in alcoholic fermentation. Not that I know anything about that. But if you're going to build a still, from what I hear, you need some corn, you need some yeast, you need some sugar, you put it all together, it ferments, and you end up with, that. So that is sugar. Okay, we skipped out the rest of it. The main thing is it's sugar. And it's going to give us CO2 plus what? Alcohol. Okay, plus energy, ATP. Lactic acid. How many of you guys have ever been to the gym, running, doing those sprints, and pretty soon your legs are killing you? What are they doing? Are they, give me a word, it starts with a B, I'm looking for. They are
Building muscle.
building muscle, that's excellent, that wasn't the one I was looking for. You're in the burning. Okay, when your muscles are burning, they're building up lactic acid. This is another form of anaerobic respiration, is this building up of lactic acid. Okay? See, like Hernan's hand, he's going, ouch, ouch. Was that because he was cramped? Or was it because you had to poop? Okay. What is ATP? I'm going to distill this down. Here's what you need to know. Who's got $5 in here? $10. $5, $10. Anybody? Who got $5, $10? 20? Anybody got 20? Okay, let's say for fun that Hernan, the money broker in here, he's got a 20. Okay? So if he gives me a 20, can we go down to the soda machine and use it?
No.
Why?
Because it won't give change.
Okay, won't give change. What's wrong with the $20 bill? There's a pointer. What's wrong with the $20 bill? It's too what? Too much. It's too big. Too much. Too big. This is what glucose is. Okay? Glucose is like a $20 or $100 bill. This molecule is too big to be utilized by ourselves. So what we have to do is we have to break it down. ATP, adenine triphosphate, stores the energy in small packets in $1. So we put all this money in, but then we have to turn it into these $1 bills. All right. Last big thing. A bunch of this, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I want you to know, exactly what I want you to expect you to remember. How many of you have ever taken a rubber band and kept stretching and stretching and stretching, and then what happens? It breaks. Remember when it broke? The instant it broke, that was taking potential energy. Okay, so if you were shooting it, you could say, shoot it further, shoot it further, shoot it further. That's potential. It hasn't done anything yet. As soon as it breaks, now it's kinetic energy. That's what happens here. This is, what's the number for tri? 5. 3. Triphosphate. How many phosphates have we got up here? 3. When one of them breaks off, it's like the rubber band breaking. As soon as it breaks, and this is a bond, these are called bonds, remember, between these two. So what holds these phosphates together is a bond. When that bond breaks, it's releasing energy. How many of you have ever had the party poppers where you pull the thing out? It goes, okay, much louder than I can do that. When that thing pops, that's just like this phosphate popping off. That loud pop is the creation of that energy, okay? So when the last bond is broken, a small amount of energy is released to be used by this cell. So that's breaking it down from 100 to $1. This is what you need to fill in on those next two boxes. What is on this page right here is exactly, completely what I expect you to know. So, you want to know exactly what's going to be on your next test? There it is. Know this.